Hey, it's Joe, and here we go. And at time, of course, to turn down the music. So, 3 minute creative writing lesson right now. And right now, we're going to talk about overwriting and ego driven writing. One of the things, myself included, that every writer struggles with is at some point having to deal with using your ego and getting rid of your ego when you're writing. And we're not talking about confidence. We're talking about trying to be impressive to your reader using big words, things like that. And you can usually, readers can usually understand it and recognize it instantly. It's where the writer is trying to sound too brilliant, they're trying to sound too deep or literary. The sections are overly written. Instead of talking about a location or a description, they just, instead of mentioning it and getting on with it, they talk about it and they write it over and over and over. It's that I'm trying to prove to you how smart I am by sounding like a thesaurus. Yeah, have you read things like that? And I know that I do that. One of my biggest critiques by some of my creative writing teachers is, you've already made this point, move on. You should have moved on 3 paragraphs ago, but here you are waxing poetic over and over. The woods softly sighed as the mountains, on and on and on. Babbling brooks and the smell of moss in the trees. It's like, dude, you're in the forest. We get it, right? Move on. So, and because of that, your story starts to suffocate under the weight of all this prose, and you start to lose your reader. And when you do this, when you're skipping through and it's like there's just that big block of chunk of black, no breaks in it, there's no dialogue, and you're like, oh dear Lord. And you just skim through it, and you're just like, I hope I'm not missing anything good in here, but I just don't need to hear the description of this. We'll just go back to the forest, of this forest over and over and over. And it's not showing how clever you are or what a great writer you are, because you can throw down a lot of words. And that's the other thing, is people get caught up in word count. And instead of just telling a good story, they're trying to get to 300 pages, and that's not always necessary. So readers often are more impressed with simplicity and vulnerability and straightforwardness, and characters that feel real. We all know when characters don't talk a specific way when you're having dialogue. That's not realistic. People don't say that. And you catch yourself saying that, because I do it all the time. And if you're doing that in your writing, other people are going to read it as well. So we need to keep them simplistic and simple, clear and confident. And I think when you get away from that of wanting to sound like a real writer and wanting to seek validation, your stories become stronger. And it's less of, look at how talented I am, and here's a really good story. And I think we should focus on that.